Welcome to episode 663 of the Aussie Tech Heads, recorded on 23rd of January 2020. Aussie Tech Heads is brought to you by startnewcompany.com.au. Register your company fast, easy and direct with ASIC. All documentation provided and held in your account for downloading at any time. If you're an accountant or other professional, you're also able to brand all documents with your company name. Coming soon, ABN, TFN and trusts. Special discount codes for ATH listeners at the cart. Use ATH20 for a $20 discount. And athwebhosting.com.au. Servers operate on SSD drives. Immediate activation, SSL certificates, Aussie support, domain registration, easy install of WordPress, Joomla and Drupal. And we have back again Australia's two top podcasters. I'm your host, Jason Oakley, and I'm joined this week by Will Tompkinson. How you doing, Will?
Hey, mate, how are
Hey, I got it right that way.
you?
Man, no ATH for too long. Everybody's probably been salivating. It's like, when is my ATH coming out? I need it, damn it. When?
Yeah, something like that. It's yeah. Well, we were supposed to start back last week, but we had a couple of minor technical issues. You know.
Which meant nothing worked.
Oh yeah, really.
That's how minor it was.
It was so minor that
worked at all.
nothing. Everything. my mixer died, then my webcam mic wouldn't work, and then for some reason it would only see a microphone attached to your camera that was like buried under my desk somewhere. But anyway, I just got a new mixer out of it.
Yeah.
So.
And Glenn's going to get a whole new computer out of something.
Yeah, well, he copped a massive flood the other day from the storm they had there at the Gold Coast, so that was fun.
He wasn't 6 foot under, but his basement was.
Yeah, it was. It certainly got a bit damp. He had, I don't know how much water was in there, but it's interesting.
Enough to make your computer dead.
Well, especially given that he's like right on the river, so yeah, it's a very interesting situation how he managed to get so much water in something that's so far above sea level. But anyway. So, but
good work.
So we did
however you managed to do it.
Yeah, pretty much. So, but so I managed to get this mixer. I ordered a couple of weeks ago because mine has been playing up for a while.
And you got it sent express delivery, super fast.
Well, in that offence, it was express delivery, but it was express delivery from oops, wrong button, from America. So it was a matter of time till it turned up. But basically, I can't go any further. I'm at the end of my leash. But it's a Pile Audio 5-channel mixer.
So you got piles now, have you?
I'm a big fan of Pile Audio, actually. I've used a lot of their car audio stuff for a lot of years. I didn't realise they did that. But their stuff's relatively cheap and pretty well priced. Like, that's $100 mixer. It's, as I said, it's 5-channel USB. It also has battery backup that'll run for 4 hours, so you can power it with the internal
outside
battery.
broadcast.
Yeah, basically. And right. that's $100. This is a Focusrite. This is what I was using. This is the...
Now it's a Focus dead.
Scarlett Audio thing. And this was like 400 and something. And it's only a 2-channel.
Wow.
I didn't pay that. I got a mate who used it in the studio for a while. But this is the second one. The first one was a Focusrite M-Box Audio that lasted about 2 years, and that was another $500 device. And this one lasted about 2 years as well. So they're
now $100 to do better.
For $100, if it lasts 2 years, I'm already 3 times better off. So so I got that and got ordered. So it came from the States, which wasn't too bad because I only ordered it 2 weeks ago, and they did say it wasn't going to be here till the 1st. So got here ahead of time, which was pretty cool. Actually got turned up today. Literally, this is like I've just plugged it in.
How does even working?
Yeah, so hopefully my audio is... I'm trying to keep one eye on my screen over here, which has got my audio balance on it. So I'm kind of trying to balance on the fly a little bit because I haven't had much of a time to set it up. So hopefully my audio is not too horrible tonight.
Sounds good at this end.
So
Better than none at all, like last week.
yeah, that's it. So that, and then I ordered a scissor mic thing so I could get my mic out of the way because at the moment it's on the desk, and every time
Yep.
I type on the keyboard, you can hear it.
I can't-
So I got a scissor thing, and then they said that was out of stock, and they said, oh, you can order this one. So I ordered that one, and that was out of stock. This happened like 4 times, and I'm just like, nah, whatever. I'll worry about it later. So,
uh,
well, as good as Amazon, this is my first time I've used Amazon. Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad.
didn't you make those out of desk lamps in the past?
Yeah, but now I can. Now that people have caught onto that, you can actually buy you can buy them cheaper now than you used to be. It used to be like $100 to get one,
Yep.
or it was like $25 for a desk lamp that had the same thing. But now you can buy them for like $25 with the proper mic attachment and everything. So it's just
Oh,
easier.
right. That's all worth it.
Figure if it lasts 12 months for $20 or whatever it is, it's worth it.
Yep. I got a bit of a technology update as well. My router in the lounge room, which did most of the house and did quite well, would randomly drop off Wi Fi. It started once or twice a day, and in the end, it was doing 4 or 5 times a day. The Wi Fi would just go away for like 5 seconds, but it was enough for all the Google Homes to disappear, and then they have a heart attack because they can't come back for about a minute. Once the Wi Fi's gone, they can't find it. And then um, iPad and MacBook, they're like, I don't even know what's going on. The MacBook sometimes would keep the connections going and not die until it came back again. But sometimes I'd have to reboot the whole computer because the Wi-Fi is gone, and then it'd come back and you could see it in the list and click on one of them, join this network. It's like, no, I can't join that, so I try a different one because I've got the 5 and the 2.4 gigahertz. No, can't join that either. So I reboot the computer and go. And this computer here is that I'm on now is on Wi-Fi up the other end of the house. It got the Wi-Fi signal fine, but if it dropped out, I'd have to reboot the computer as well because it'd come up and say, "Sorry, can't join this network." So it's getting frustrating. So in the end, I did a lot of research and came up with the Orbi, which is quite a nice little design. Do you have any screenshots of that, Mr. T?
Yeah, I can find one. Yeah, there's
And
a lot of different models with those too, apparently.
yeah, it just plugs in the router in the lounge room, and then it's got a satellite that's easily configured. And I've got that in the bedroom. It picks up the Wi-Fi from the lounge room, then relays it through this end of the house, so it sort of meets in the middle with good signal strength. Easy to set up from a little mobile app because once you plug the first Orbi in, when you got the satellite, it just says it's got a QR code on the back of the satellite. And you scan it with your phone app, and it automatically syncs the two of them together. So you don't have to set up passwords. You don't have to pick what frequency and all this rubbish. It just does it automatically for you. And if you've got a big house or out to the shed, you can put in more and more satellites as you like. And the only downside that I had was I had 3 devices in the lounge room that were connected via Ethernet, and the Orbi router has one Ethernet out, and the satellite's got 2 Ethernets out. But I didn't want to have all my equipment moved into the bedroom or into the spare room because if we have visitors in that room and they accidentally unplug it, then there goes the satellite. So, um, but today I actually got busy and got my old router, turned off the Wi-Fi on it, turned it into a sort of bridge mode AP, and connected up so it passes through the Ethernet from the other devices in the lounge room straight through on the Ethernet cable. But I've still got the satellite here that I can plug 2 more things in if I ever need to, or plug in my desktop if I wanted it. But it all goes through there. And yeah, it's really good systems. They look lovely, very small. I'm guessing maybe they got the antennas inside, which is why they're so tall, and they
Mm.
just put a case around it so it doesn't look like you got a cockroach upside down or something like that. But yeah, and the antennas obviously can't break off. There's one with all the antennas that
That's
I had
the
the R7000.
that's the Nighthawk. I got one that's sitting over there. The Wi-Fi is absolutely atrocious on
Yep,
it. You would
but
think with
this
four
was a
aerials it'd be
breeze.
great, but no.
You get 1 month free. Bitdefender is built into it,
No,
and
okay.
so whenever you set up a device and connect it to the network, shortly after you get a notification on your phone The Orbi Bitdefender has just detected a new device is connected to your network. If you don't want this to happen, click here and it'll launch the thing, and you can cancel it if somebody tries to hack Tor onto your network, which is very difficult anyway. But it's nice to know, and so you get visitors come over. You can set up a guest only network. So you give visitors a different password. They go on the guest network and they don't get access to all your devices in the house if you want to. I had guests here just recently. I just gave them the normal one, but ping up. Somebody has joined onto your network. This is what their device is called. This is what type of device it is. Blah blah blah, and the IP address I gave it and stuff. So it's very very cool, and it's got a built-in speed test from the router. So instead of my computer through the Wi-Fi connecting to the router and then running speedtest.net or something, you just run it directly from the router out through the WAN, and it does a fast test there. The only thing that I had to do was when I plugged it in, the old router's session was still held on my WAN connection to my RSP. So I just rang them up and said, "Can you just reset the port so that the new one can work?" And that was fine. I mean, I could do it from the app because I'm with Aussie Broadband and they got my Aussie app, but for some reason their app wouldn't connect to their server just when I needed it to. So it was pretty good though. I just rang them up and they said, "Oh, we're really busy. Press one and we'll leave your number and call you back." And within about 5 minutes, they rang
Hi,
back. Said,
everybody.
"What
Karen
can we do?"
Roby and Adrian Kingsley.
Reset the port. Yep,
Bloody
port is
autoplay.
reset. All good.
Yeah, no, it's I do like Aussie Broadband. I'm with them as well. Wherever with them at work, they're really on the ball.
Yeah.
And,
That striker guy that we haven't mentioned in a long time is looking at going with them next.
yeah, I'm
He's
with
like, "I've been with IINet for like 24 years, but now it's that other company, less keen."
yeah. Well, I'm with them, and I use PowerShop for the power at home, and same
Yep.
thing. Like they're just on the ball as well. So they're actually running a thing at the moment when you recharge. Where are we? If you go to your PowerShop app and you actually recharge at the moment, they have a lot of different features that you can do. Like a normal one you would do is called the Power Saver, so you pay in advance and you recharge.
Yep.
But they've got one at the moment that's the Pay It Forward app,
Oh, okay.
and normally if you prepay for $10, you get $11 worth of power, so
Yep.
you're slightly better off. With the Pay It Forward app, you get for $9. So for every $10 you pay, you get $9 worth of power, and they pay the extra dollar to people who are having bushfire affected and whatever at the moment.
Oh, nice.
But they drop your power rate down to a cheaper tariff. So even though you're paying less you're paying less, or you're paying a little bit more and getting less usage. But they're dropping your tariff, so you actually end up getting you actually come out in front a little bit and you get a slightly higher amount that you've paid for, even though you've paid less for it. Like, it's a really interesting system that they've got.
What kind of feed-in do they have?
Up here in Queensland, basically everybody's the same. Everyone's 8 cents or whatever. It's pretty much just fixed.
And do they have that feature that updates the episode on your lower third to the current number, or is that not?
I knew there was something I had to do. So this is what happens when you go away for like a month and don't do anything. You can't figure out what you're supposed to do.
Somebody noticed. We know you're out sitting there going, "Come on, Jason did the intro and it bloody said 663, but it's got 662 on there, and 4 more episodes and we're doing 666, and then it's the end, right?"
Yeah, it's all over at that point. We're all done. I got a script to auto update the date, so I'm halfway
Yes.
there. I can't find any way of auto updating the episode number, so can't have everything.
No.
But yeah, so, and actually on that point too, before we get to the stories, if you guys do listen to the show and you do appreciate what we do, obviously, we do this for free. Have been doing it for a long time. Been doing it for Glenn been doing it for, what did you say, 12 years or something. We would just like to hear from you guys and let us know what you think. Glenn's umming and ahhing as to whether or not, now that he's had this setback with his computer and with his office and everything, he's umming and ahhing as to whether or not he should continue the show. we'd like to hear from you guys and let us know what you think. If it's something that you guys, would be interested in us continuing, because it's a labour of love. Like, it's literally something that we do. There's
Well, that's part of the reason why I stopped with our other podcast. Is no one ever contacted us or even commented on Apple iTunes or YouTube or anywhere that we've got our stuff to say, "Hey, we like your show." So I'm like, am I am I echoing into the void here, or what's going on?
yeah, and it really does. It really does weigh on you after a while, especially when you've been doing it for so long. It's it's hard to get motivated sometimes, especially when you have a lot of setbacks like we've had. Like, I've had to buy a new computer, and I've spent forked out a heap of money and all this sort of stuff so we can do it. And Glenn's in the same sort of boat at the moment, and
Yep.
we've got a couple other hosts, and they're all sort of like umming and ahhing. It's basically we just want to know if you know. We know we have a lot of listeners. We can tell by the numbers that we have quite a decent amount of listeners. We just don't get any feedback.
We know we
You
have a
know.
lot of downloaders.
Well, this is true. However, downloaders, we don't even know if we have a lot of listeners.
You don't get those kind of stats.
So, it's just something that'd be nice to hear. Yeah, I was just reading back through the messages. Glenn's been doing it for 14 years.
Yep.
I've been doing it for 8, 9 years, something like that. So it's just something we'd like, guys. We'd just really like to hear from you, and just, it hasn't got to be much. Just say, yes, I still listen, and yes, it's something I continue to listen to, or, no, the show's run its course,
Email
whatever.
Glenn at aussietechheads.com.au, and he's got 2 N's. So if you've been sending lots of messages and they're not getting through, it's because he doesn't know how to spell his name. You should set up a forwarder, right?
It does. He's got an auto forwarder.
Glenn to Glennon.
You can send it to all you over there, or, whatever. It'll go through.
You can even type Glenn.
So, but yeah, it's something that we'd really want to know, guys. Just let us know. If you want us to change this up, if you want us to become a short format show, if you want us to ditch the video and just stick to audio, just
Mr. T and I could try doing half an hour, but we've tried in the past.
These are our half-hour shows. What are you talking about?
Times we've both come on and gone, there's nothing to talk about. And then an hour and a half later, we're like, I wonder if we should finish the podcast now.
This is our short format. You should trust us on our long format shows. So, yeah, that'd be much appreciated, guys. There's several different ways to get a hold of us. The easiest way is either through Facebook or Twitter. And there's other links for other things there as well. So,
you can leave a review on iTunes.
Yeah, as I said, like, even if you want to be informal, just let us know what you think. What we should or shouldn't do. If we should be doing it, if we shouldn't be doing it.
Thumbs up the YouTubes, people. Thumbs up.
Which hosts you don't appreciate, which hosts you do appreciate. All that sort of stuff.
Hosts you appreciate? Hosts, no. Yes, no.
So, but anyway, enough housekeeping. Let's do something, I suppose.
Microsoft briefly exposed call center data on almost 250 million customers via several unsecured cloud servers late last year, according to researchers. Bob Diachenko spotted the major privacy snafu a day after databases across 5 Elasticsearch servers were indexed by the Binary Edge search engine on December 28. Each contained a seemingly identical trove of Microsoft customer service and support records spanning a 14-year period. Records included phone conversations between service agents and customers dating back to 2005, all password-free and completely unprotected. Most personally identifiable information was redacted from the records, but many apparently contained customer email and IP addresses, support agent emails, and internal notes and descriptions of the cases. This presented not just a phishing risk, but a valuable collection of data for tech support scammers who impersonate call center agents from Microsoft and other companies to install malware on victim machines and steal financial data. If scammers obtained the data before it was secured, they could exploit it by impersonating a real Microsoft employee and referring to a real case number. From there, they could fish for insensitive information or hijack user devices. However, Microsoft was praised for acting swiftly to lock down the exposed servers. After being informed by Diachenko on December 29, the firm had secured all data by December 31. Microsoft is just the latest in a long line of companies that have exposed sensitive consumer data through cloud misconfigurations. They include Choice Hotels, Honda North America, Adobe, and Dow Jones.
But it's okay because Microsoft says that their exposure was limited, so...
Yes, I don't want to see Microsoft exposed.
So your retinas are fine, I guess. That's what they're getting at.
It's fine. Everything's fine these days. Everybody's email and home addresses and
Yeah, I
stuff
know.
are all over the web, whether you want it to be or not. There's been so many leaks in the last 10 years, it's ridiculous. It'd be strange if your email address is not somewhere on the public database or the dark web or somewhere at this stage.
Oh, absolutely. You know, it's just running rampant. You know, and it's only going to get worse too. Like as we become more reliant on technology, this is the downfall of becoming reliant on technology. You aren't, you know, you have no privacy. You're not a person. You're just you're an asset to be bought and sold and bought to the highest bidders. You know, it's just what do you do? You know.
And even companies that say our whole goal of our company is to secure your financial data and prevent fraud can't. So,
Well, yeah. I mean, some of them have had bigger breaches than
yes.
some of the other. It's sort of people are like, oh, I can't remember 4,000 passwords. I'm like, you don't need to. Just use like 4. It doesn't make any difference.
Yeah.
The 90% of the stuff you store is in clear text anyway, and it's not.
How often have we
You
seen
know.
researchers were surprised to discover that the passwords weren't encrypted and they were sitting on a database in the cloud that was publicly accessible
Yeah, exactly.
every day?
Yeah, and it's like even NordVPN. One of their servers, one of their VPNs got hacked. Admittedly, there's not a heck of a lot you can do with that because that is two-way. You like to encode it at both ends, and it's just a drop-off point, really. But even something like that, that's only going to be used for nefarious use. There's no way you can use that to collect data or anything, but you can still use it for DDoSing attacks and stuff like that. But who was it the other day? Chrome. I had pop up on my Chrome browser the other day saying your password's at risk or something. With click here for a check of if you've been breached or something or other.
Yep. Have I been pwned?
So, well, there's the other thing too. Yeah, have I been pwned or whatever? Is you go to that website, you enter your email address and ask them if it's found anywhere. I mean, you're assuming
it is now.
yeah, that's right. You're assuming that they're doing the correct thing with your email address in the first place.
I have to remember that was just set up by some random guy. It wasn't like a big company or anything.
Yeah.
But I think he might have sold it onto a big company now because it was so much to look after, and they're integrating it in everything. But still,
probably. I mean, you look at like Wiki, Wiki and stuff like that. That it's all. You just need to log in to verify who you are, and I very much doubt any of their databases are encrypted.
Yeah.
There'd be no reason for it. It's not. It's only keeping details for that, but. Once again, if you use I used to have an email address that I would use specifically for 90% of the things that I visited, and I'd only go like keep my normal, Facebook, Twitter, Gmail, that sort of stuff would be my regular email address. Everything else, but that got too hard to manage, and then it's just easier now. It's like I'll just put everything.
I used to do the trick, username plus Facebook at gmail.com and username plus something else at gmail.com, and then it's like too complicated to manage all of that.
Oh, it's too painful. The novelty wears off after a while.
Just everybody is selling all this stuff, so I mean. So what if you find out that it was at Facebook who sold your email address this week?
Even, my son Cam is 4 years old, so I've set up his Facebook, I've set up his Gmail. It's just basically just to have the names, before they get taken.
Preserve. Yeah.
And he's constantly getting spam emails, and lately it's all been spam emails from Tinder. Click here to verify your email address. Click here to verify your email. I keep saying, reporting this as a spam email, and they keep going, okay, we've removed you from a mailing list. A week later, click here. I'm like, wouldn't you think that if you've reported that as a spam email 3 or 4 times, they wouldn't allow that to process anymore?
You'd think so.
Anyway. So.
Any news from you, sir?
Yeah. There's a lot of bits of stuff happening. Doesn't seem to be anything too major in tech. But speaking of, satellites and stuff like that, Sonos. For those who don't know, Sonos is basically, they were one of the leaders in remote speakers. Like, you had your main thing, and then you could put all these remote speakers around your house, and they could play different songs in different rooms. And it was the original Google Home.
I think they also even follow you around if you carry your phone, don't they? They'll
yeah.
switch off the bedroom, switch on the lounge room, and
Yep.
the music will keep playing.
Yeah, and that's it. Yeah, you can either have it broadcast everywhere, or you can have, this phone is only allowed to broadcast on that speaker. You can have a file. Yeah, there's heaps of different things you can do.
Now they've upset everyone.
Pretty much. They've basically, Sonos has been in the news over the past few weeks. At the end of last year, the company came under heavy fire for its recycle mode that bricked perfectly good hardware, a practice that was criticised as wasteful and environmentally unfriendly. Yesterday, the company announced it's ending support in May 2020 for a whole raft of speakers, putting them on the path to obsolescence. The company announced the plug has been pulled on the following hardware: the original Zone players, which are from 2006, but it includes versions sold as late as 2015. First generation Play 5, which is 2009, the CR200 is 2009, and Bridge, which is 2007. According to the blog post announcing this, 92% of products Sonos has ever shipped are still in use, but now some of the oldest products have been stretched to the technical limits in terms of memory and processing power. Without new software updates, access to server overall functionality and sound system will eventually be disrupted, particularly as partners evolve their technology. The overall functionality of your sound system will eventually be disrupted.
Does it sound like it might be they just want you to buy new stuff?
Yeah.
It's the Apple method, isn't it?
Pretty much. The further issue, the users continue to use legacy hardware with newer supported speakers. The new hardware will not receive updates. This means that either isolating the legacy gear to its own network or making do without updates. The tech outlet, The Register, did some digging through Sonos Q4 2019 financial filings and discovered the company had both been planning for the obsolescence of its products and associated backlash from customers. We expect that in the near term, the backwards compatibility will no longer be practical or cost effective. It may decrease or discontinue service for older products. The filing explains, if we no longer provide extensive backwards compatibility for our products, we may damage our relationship with our existing customers as well as their reputation, brand loyalty, and ability to attract new customers. So, does the reason hold water? Well, while the company's reasoning for the recycling mode effectively bricking devices to put it bluntly, was embarrassing, this time around there may be some merit to pulling the plug and support for older hardware. Most of the hardware listed was released around 2007, 2009, and that's a long time ago in terms of tech. Another part of the problem is that Sonos has not made it clear that the stuff would become obsolete. If 92% of the products Sonos has ever shipped are still in use, then they've set a trend of longevity. Sonos was founded 18 years ago and the first products came to market in 2005. So basically, yeah, like...
Definitely not for stuff that's just been sold in 2015. That's not long time in tech terms.
No, I mean... and then I would be asking the question, okay, you launched something in 2006, so the original Zone players are saying, so you're telling me you launched that in 2006 and you didn't touch the hardware in 9 years? I don't necessarily buy that. I mean, really, 2009 isn't that long ago. It's only 11 years. I mean, I got a laptop sitting over there that's 2009, and it still works fine. Okay, it's on XP and whatever, but it's perfectly usable. It'll actually be powering my... I bought one of those mini... That's that thing I bought. Bought one of those mini CNC router thingies to cut out circuit boards for prototyping. But, it's going to sit there and it's going to happily run that for the next 10 years. It doesn't need much processing power. So this whole thing, like, okay, I get you can't support something forever. I understand that. But why do you have to kill it? How much data does it really use to keep an old file on a server somewhere? This is the last update patch we've made. It's sitting on this FTP server. If you ever need it, it's just there.
You're now a Bluetooth speaker only.
Yeah,
Still
like,
works. Something.
well, no, just let it like work the way it's continued to work. You don't need to change the way it's continued to work. If it's working perfectly fine, even though it's reached technically its limits of being useful, just leave it working the way it's currently working.
Yeah.
You don't need to change that. You know, they carry on to say, oh, but the new program we're writing for the new speakers isn't compatible with the old one for the databasing and the online. Well, don't keep them separate. If you've got 92% of your customers have existing hardware, that means 8% of your customers are on the new system. So I would be actually supporting the old system and just maybe occasionally worrying about the new one.
Still sounds like
You
we
know.
want you to buy new ones.
Oh, and well, same as Windows.
Yeah.
We're no longer provisioning for Windows 7 or for whatever they're not doing anymore. And it's like, well, but like as I said, I'm still running a couple laptops with Windows XP on them.
Yeah.
They run perfectly fine. I've got Panda antivirus on them, and they happily run, and they run faster than they'd run with any other operating system on them. And why change that? Like, just because it's a old operating system doesn't mean it no longer functions.
Don't fix it if it ain't broke.
I don't know. And worse, I mean, at least with a PC, if it was true end of life for the OS, I could always put Linux on it.
Yep.
But something like this, you can't do anything with it. Like, it's like Google saying, "Oh, I'm not going to support the original Google Home anymore." Like, something like 85% of everybody who uses that style of infrastructure, whether it's the home, whether it's the whatever, something like 85% of the people have the Google Home or the Google Mini. And it's like them saying, oh, we're just not going to use that anymore because it's reached its technical limits. It's like, well, but it's still functioning perfectly fine for what it is.
Yeah.
If you have a new device that has new limitations, have a new database for the new device that has the new limitations. Data's cheap. Stop being tight asses.
There's Mr. T's rant of the week. It had to come sometime.
Plenty more where that comes from.
Hi everyone, Karen Roby here with
stupid autoplay. Stop.
LogMeIn announced that it has agreed to be sold for $4.3 billion to affiliates of Francisco Partners and Evergreen Coast Capital Corporation, a private equity affiliate of Elliott Management Corporation. Purchase price comes out to $86.05 per share in an all-cash deal. The company had a 52-week high of $96.87 per share and a low of $62.02. The purchase price represents a 25% premium on the closing share price on September 18th, which the company reports was the day media reports began to leak that the company was up for sale. Bill Wagner, president and CEO at LogMeIn, said in the statement the price reflects the high value of the company and will give shareholders a meaningful return. As you would expect, he was also optimistic that the partnership with Francisco and Evergreen will help the company go forward. As for the private equity firms, they are getting a broad portfolio of products, including unified communications and collaboration. LogMeIn bought Jive Communications for $357 million in 2018 to give it deeper penetration in the unified communications market. Its most well-known product is probably GoToMeeting, which has had to compete with the likes of Zoom, WebEx, BlueJean, Google Hangouts, Google Hangouts, and others in the crowded video conferencing space. The company bought GoToMeeting from Citrix in 2016 for $1.8 billion.
Yeah, I haven't used GoToMeeting in a long time.
Most people are doing TeamViewer, aren't they?
Even TeamViewer is becoming painful now. There's several free ones that are far and away better. There's even one that works directly inside the Chrome browser. You don't even need to install anything. You just send to a website on Chrome and it installs into the browser, and then it's remote access. Which is actually what Steam uses for its remote games. Because I had it crash the other day, and it brought the Chrome browser up and said this site said the data sharing or whatever it is has failed within the browser.
That's hilarious.
So But yeah, I think it's becoming less and less.
Probably a good time to sell, right?
I think they're at the peak of definitely at the peak of their business structure. I mean, remember there was that whole, was it Log Me In or TeamViewer had that whole range of different things. There was like team meeting and solo and help
All right.
desk, and there was a whole heap of different ones, and they all did something slightly different than something else. And there was
Yep.
like go to print and go to and it's like they're all basically exactly the same software with one feature. So if you
Yeah.
need that feature and that feature, you've got to buy two different parts of the software.
Two
Like,
licenses.
that's just dumb.
Ka-ching!
Just dumb.
No wonder the shares went up.
Yeah, well, I mean, speaking of shares going up, Tesla. Wasn't a story I had, it just reminded me. The Tesla shares have gone absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
They've exceeded everybody's expectations. They've gone up. Let's see if I can.
But our
quickly
government
find-
said people don't want electric vehicles and
Yeah,
solar and
like
stuff.
our government know anything about anything.
They know more than most people, right? That's why they're the government, because they know more than everybody.
About what?
Apparently, spending our taxpayer money on sports centres
Yeah.
in marginal electorates.
I'll just quickly see if I can find this story. But yeah, they've gone up. They're currently at 557.
Do you want me to chuck in another story while you're jiggling?
That's all right. I can wing it. So basically, they're currently at 557 US. They've actually dropped a little bit today. They were at a peak at 564 today. But if you look at their shares, like in the last, I'm trying to think when it happened. I think it happened over the last yeah, there we go. Since basically, well, it's pretty much when they announced the Cybertruck. So mid December, the shares are pretty much sitting constantly at like $200 a share. Like they've been there for at least 12 months, if not more. And then in the last month, yeah, they're up $550 a share. So they've gone up $350 a share in a month.
And people laughed at the Cybertruck.
Yeah, well, so did regular car manufacturers. Like they were like, it's never going to work. We don't need to worry about it. It's not really competition. What's the big deal? And now they're like, oh, maybe we should start looking into it, and there might be some sort of future in it. And
suddenly, pre-orders.
Oh yeah.
Whoa.
Well, yeah, and I think it's So I was talking to someone on one of the forums. I can't think what forum it was over the last couple of days, and they've pre-ordered a Cybertruck.
Yep.
So, and they're like, they haven't even officially been released with a time and date, and they haven't even been approved to run in Australia yet. He's like, I don't care, I'm ordering one. It's like they're not gonna not bring them out here. With the amount of money they're gonna be making.
Yep.
But I know. That's the other thing I wanted to quickly say too. Obviously, starting what's the end of this? So what? 2 weeks. Start next month. There's that stupid new revenue raising thing where you can't touch your phone at all, otherwise you're going to get fined, $500,000 or whatever it is. What was it, $1,300 or something? And 4 points or 6 points or something stupid like that.
And they got cameras that detect you touching your phone.
Yeah, but I want to know what happens
if the person sitting next to you is not allowed to touch their phone.
Yeah, I don't understand. But yet it says that you can hand your phone to the passenger for them to take the call. It says it in there. The other thing I don't get is, what do you do if you got Tesla? Because technically it's a VDU, it's a video display unit, and these fines apply to VDUs. The entire car is controlled via the VDU. There is no other way to control anything on the vehicle. So whether it's even something like adjusting the temperature or, setting cruise control or whatever, that's all done, even turning your headlights on, it's all done through the VDU. So, what, is everybody who's got Tesla going to be paying these fines?
They get an exception because They're nice people.
So it's going to be interesting how many people actually fight them. The smart people will fight them. There's no law behind any of this. It's pure revenue. So all the smart people, the people who've got enough money to hire a lawyer, they'll all get off the second you even remotely dispute the fine anyway. But yeah, like because of the way it's all worded now, it basically means anybody who's got a new, well, not even a Tesla, but even a lot of new cars, like the new BMW and the new Hyundai, they've all got the Jag, they've all got massive big just touchscreens in it now, and you control everything through that.
Mine's as big as an iPad. It sits in the middle between the passenger and the driver.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I mean. Like that's the way they're all going now. So using your phone is the least of your worries now.
Yep.
Like, you know, I don't know. I don't understand.
The whole car's going to be a touchscreen.
Well, it pretty much is. You can't really make it voice control. I mean, could you imagine having a conversation with your passenger?
Accelerate 10 kilometers an hour further.
Yeah.
Apply the brakes. We're about to die.
Have what was it all motion control? You just
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just get one of those the Wii controllers.
Yeah.
You can wave it around to keep the car going. This way, forwards, back. Take a left.
Well, I guess if they're bringing the self-driving cars and this is why they'll never allow self-driving cars. Because if they allow self-driving cars, they'll lose all their revenue stream. Because there'll be no fines because the vehicles will be programmed not to break any laws.
Yep.
So that's why they won't allow them.
That's a terrible idea.
Yeah, they'll never allow them for that. And that will be the only reason they'll never allow them. None of this, nothing else to do with safety or anything like that. It's because they'll lose revenue.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. So.
Rewound, the basic music player app that you could skin to make your iPhone look remarkably like an iPod Classic, has been pulled from the App Store, according to the Rewound blog post published on Medium. The blog says that Apple pulled the app because it copied the iPod's design, charged for Apple Music features, and people could mistake the app for an Apple product. The blog makes the case that the app had a pretty basic interface that looked nothing like an Apple app, and the iPod Classic skins didn't come pre-installed. You had to download them after you'd already installed the app. The Rewound blog says the iOS app can't be updated without breaking the app for all 170,000 plus users, but the developer Louis Anslow said he'll attempt to bring the app back in some way. On a GoFundMe page for the continued development of Rewound, Anslow said he'll try some tweaks to get Rewound resubmitted in the App Store, and that the GoFundMe will help support development of a web page and an Android app. On the GoFundMe page, Anslow said it isn't clear if Apple will ever allow Rewound back in the App Store, and states that we are not promising a fully finished versions of any of the apps.
Still available on Android.
Yeah. If you want your Android phone to look like an iPod Classic, there you go.
I think
pretty cool idea.
Yeah, I don't know why you'd... Well, actually, I have to admit, the whole jogging part that the iPad, that thing.
iPod Classic.
That's it. The jog wheel was probably the best part of that. Like the way it functioned was actually quite nice, and that in an app, actually in the Android app, functions exactly the same way, and that's actually pretty cool. I could handle that.
Yeah.
But that.
Well, there you go. Now you know what you got to download, Mr. T.
Whoops. That would be the only thing I would use it for. I wouldn't use it for anything else. But for that part, if somebody just made that jog wheel thing work with like, YouTube or something, it'd be perfect.
Yeah.
So I was actually watching a YouTube video today. A guy got a classic. I don't know what was the iPad. I think it was the 5th generation one. Yeah, one that did the video anyway. It was like the 5th generation or something. And he took the I think it was a 80 gig hard drive that it had by default. Took that out, and there's someone who's made this adapter that plugs into the same cable, and you can put 4 SD cards in it. So he put 4 256 gig cards in it. So he put basically like a 1 terabyte hard drive back into this thing.
Do you want to know something hilarious right now?
What's that?
These news stories I did before Christmas.
Yeah, that one I know you did. I was about to say that, but then I'll let you do it. Because I went to bring the link up and it was already highlighted, and I'm like, hang on a minute.
I should have deleted my older stories.
Probably would
All
have
right, let's
helped.
go on to something else cool. You'll scroll down from my next lot of links in that document. Busan-based firm Genax has spent the past few years developing J-Flex, an advanced lithium-ion battery that's ultra-thin, flexible, and rechargeable. With the arrival of so many wearable gadgets, phones with flexible displays, and other portable gizmos, we are now interacting with machines on a different level from what we did before. What we're doing at Genax is putting batteries into locations where they couldn't be before. The firm demonstrated some of those new possibilities last week at CES 2020 in Las Vegas. The devices shown by Genax include a sensor-lined football helmet developed by UK-based firm HP1 Technologies to measure pressure and force of impact, a medical sensor patch designed in France that will be embedded in clothing to monitor a wearer's heart rate, and wearable power banks in the form of belts or bracelets for patients who must continuously be hooked up to medical devices. To make batteries flexible, companies play around with the components of a battery cell, namely the cathode, anode, electrolyte, and membrane separator. In the case of Genax, which has more than 100 patents protecting its battery technology, Shin says the secret to its flexibility lies in a combination of materials, polymer electrolyte, and the know-how developed over the years. J-Flex is made from graphite and lithium cobalt oxide, but its exact composition and architecture remains a secret. J-Flex can be as thin as 0.5 millimeters, suitable for sensors, and as tiny as 20 by 20 millimeters, or as large as 200 by 200 millimeters. Its operating voltage is between 3 and 4.25 volts. Depending on the size, battery capacity varies from 10 milliamp hours to 5 ampere hours, with close to 90% of this capacity remaining after 1,000 charge-discharge cycles. Each charge typically takes an hour. J-Flex's battery life depends on how it's used. A single charge can last for a month in the sensor, but wouldn't last that long if the battery was powering a display.
Yeah, it's
Now, over to Mr. Battery for a comment on that. I thought it'd be
uh,
interesting to hear from you, so that's why I put it in there.
yeah, it's the whole thing on graphite batteries is the jury's still out. It's not new technology. The whole concept of graphite batteries has been around for quite a while. The biggest problem with them, and they're stable, they're rock solid. Like, they're pretty much a bulletproof battery, and they're very reliable. And the biggest problem with them is getting them, like the whole advantage of lithium is they're very energy dense, so you can have
Yep.
quite a small cell that produces quite a lot of energy. The biggest problem with these is, whilst they're a very thin and flexible cell, they don't have great energy density. They can deliver a lot of current, but the battery themselves actually aren't super powerful. Now,
Right.
they may have changed that. They don't actually really say. They don't. Well, I've been looking through their website quickly. I can't find anywhere it talks about the energy density. Normally, that would, if it's something, that's something you would generally focus on, particularly if it was a a high energy density battery. So I'm still just sort of half looking, but so they don't sort of talk about that, which makes me think that it's not that energy dense. Having said that, I mean, if for example you're weaving it into fibers, and you're making an entire piece of clothing from it, doesn't necessarily have to be that energy dense, because you're using a lot of it. So it'd be interesting to see. The good thing that would be able to do is, as I said, it will handle a lot of current, so it will very quickly recharge. So even if it is a smaller cell, so a lower power cell, it will charge incredibly quickly, which means that you can kind of make up for it by having the ability to recharge the cell so quickly. So say your phone had one of these batteries in it, for example, and it only had a say a 6-hour life instead of a 12-hour life, it basically means that, you could plug it in, go to the toilet, come back, and it'd be fully charged again. That's how quickly it would charge. So it wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing or a deal breaker, if it was a less density.
Maybe they'd use it in small things like wireless earbuds and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, once again, it depends on the energy density, because if it's something too small, you're not going to be able to get the power out of it that's going to be able to charge. And I was just looking at its voltage curve here. It seems that it has lithiums generally have a very linear curve. So like they'll charge their functioning voltages from 2.8 to 4.2, but they sort of hit, say, depending on the cell, but let's say they hit about 3.6 volts, and they'll sit there for a very long period of time, and then they'll drop away. Like most of their storage capacity and usable current is held within a particular voltage range, which makes...
Those the Pebble smartwatches were like that. People were like, why don't you put a display on there that shows how much charge is left? They're like, but it'll show this much charge and then it'll suddenly drop down. We can't slowly go down as a battery.
Yeah, so what you need to do is you need
Charges.
to monitor the current that's going in and out of the battery and mathematically work out how much percentage is in the battery, which is why all lithium batteries, I'm looking around, so I usually have one, but I don't, or the vast majority of commercially released lithium batteries have battery management systems on them, and that does that mathematical equation, so you can work out exactly how much capacity the battery's got. And it's worked on, if the battery's say it's a 10 amp cell, and as you're drawing the current out, it's doing the maths and working out how much of that amperage you're drawing out, and it can work out how much power's left in the cell. The thing is, with this one, it does seem to have more of a dynamic curve like a traditional battery, where it starts off at a certain voltage, in this case 4.2 volts, and as you're consuming the power, it actually seems to, the voltage has a linear curve, so the voltage actually drops away on a nice linear movement. The current of the battery doesn't drop off. It actually maintains, holds load the entire way through that thing. A normal, like alkaline, like a torch battery that you'd use in radio control cars or in remote control stuff like that, they'll drop in voltage and linear voltage, but the current drops away as well. So the lower the voltage of the battery, the less current it can deliver. This seems to be able to deliver the same sort of current no matter what the voltage is, which is going to make monitoring much easier. You can have a traditional style battery monitor, or you can tell what the condition of the battery purely by the voltage. So that's going to be good. And it does have other advantages too. It's not going to sulfate. It's going to be able to sit around flat and not damage it. So there will be other advantages, but it's just going to be interesting to see. As I said, there's been several attempts at this previously, and it's just going to be interesting to see what's going to make these guys different from the rest of them. I know they're saying they've got, all these 100 patents or whatever they've got, but most of these companies did, and most of these companies didn't go anywhere because they couldn't get the density required to make these batteries feasible. So we shall see.
Yep. How are we doing for time? I don't even know.
I have no idea. Do you want me to be looking at these sort of things? 55 minutes we've been recording for.
Cool.
So there you go. So just
How are you
quickly,
doing for stories?
Yeah, just quickly, Windows 10, new rollout 1909 has entered its next phase. It's basically bumping up the 1809 PCs. So Microsoft has stepped up the Windows 10 migration to November 2019 update by targeting more PCs on the October 2018 update. So basically, if you've got the older original install, it's pushing you up now. Unless you got updates disabled, which isn't necessarily a bad thing in Windows 10, I'll tell you that. The next phase of the Windows 10 1909 push comes just over 2 months after the start to roll out the update, which is more like a service pack. More like a service pack than the traditional twice yearly update. They made Windows 10 available to seekers who want to check updates from Windows Update, download and install a version. As of Tuesday, they're starting to push it out across automatic updates. And it they're pushing the latest one out in this latest patch. I was just reading the size here. It's something stupid. I can't find it now. It was something like. I wish I could find it. I saw it before. It's something like 12 gig or something is the new update.
Wow.
Something insane. So.
They'll go great for all those ADSL people.
Well, it's and like my mother-in-law runs Intel NUC, which is the tiny little,
Yep.
basically I mean, it's bare bones. It's still a 2.2 gig Atom, quad core Atom PC with like 16 gig or 8 gig of RAM, but the biggest thing is it's only got I want to say 64 gig, I think, of hard drive space. So, by the time you put normal Windows 10 on there without all the updates, just standard Windows 10, Office, a couple other bits and pieces, and a browser, you've used 3/4 of your hard drive already.
My HP streamer's got 32 gig SSD, and it's used up like 26 of it with Windows and window update things. So when a new version comes out, my only chance, which happened last time, I have to wipe off the whole hard drive and just do a full new install of the updated Windows.
It's stupid. It really is.
They had hacky ways around doing it. They're like, oh, you could install the update through the USB if you do this hack and that hack, and no, it doesn't work. I had to just format the hard drive and install Windows from scratch.
Yeah, and as I said, I've got my mother-in-law's one. I've got the updates turned off because, well, she doesn't need them. But they don't benefit. They're not going to make the thing faster. They're not going to do anything. They're not going to help in any way. And one of the work computers, I've got it turned off on mine, but another work computer, I leave it on, and every time there's an update available, the system slows down, it starts crashing, it goes strange, and basically forces you to restart to install the update. You know, it's just so rude. So I don't have it on. I turn it off on this one too. Like, this is, as I said, this thing's a weapon of a PC, but it doesn't need to update. Like, it's fine. It doesn't need updates. Don't worry about it. There's not like it's not like the updates are improving the OS.
No.
There might
not
be
improving the user experience.
Yeah, they're not. They're not. All they're doing is slowing it down and taking up more hard drive space.
The new Bluetooth standard will be known as LE Audio, and one of the biggest improvements will include a feature called multi-stream audio. Bluetooth is currently limited to streaming audio to just a single device. That's fine for portable speakers and headphones where both sides are connected with a wire, but for wireless earbuds such as Apple AirPods, your smartphone can actually only connect to one side. That earbud then has to forward the audio stream to the other one in your other ear, which requires some clever software tricks to ensure everything remains in sync. Multi-stream audio will solve that, as it would allow a single device, such as a smartphone, to stream flawlessly synced audio to multiple audio devices at the same time. The most obvious benefit is that it will be much easier to make wireless earbuds work more reliably without any audio lag issues. But the feature promises to also benefit those who want to use their wireless headphones with multiple devices at the same time, such as tablet, phone, and laptop, streamlining the process of switching between each audio source without having to go through an annoying disconnect-reconnect process each time. Bluetooth LE Audio will also make sharing a music stream with others possible. Users should be able to easily share audio from their smartphone with friends, as multiple sets of wireless headphones can be connected to a single source device at once, and each should receive the exact same audio stream in perfect sync with all the others. Further expanding on that idea is another new feature known as broadcast audio, which allows a single audio source device to broadcast several audio streams to an unlimited number of wireless headphones without any private pairing required.
I've never
Sounds
understood
pretty cool.
that. I've never understood why I get that you've got to pair a device to it. I understand that. But if you're broadcasting an audio signal, I've never understood why you've been limited to one receiver. It's a broadcast. It shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
It's only one signal that's going out. It shouldn't matter if there's 1 or 100 devices receiving it. It doesn't change that
You bet
one
that
signal.
came from the music industry, right? We don't want that, because then suddenly everyone's going to they'll have a party in their house, invite 50 friends, and they'll all be listening, and we want licensing rights for more than one person listening. And
yeah, I don't know where that came from. It was just a dumb idea. Like every other transmission, whether it's radio frequency, whether it's digital transmission, whether it's whatever, anything that broadcasts can have multiple receivers. You might have to, tune into that frequency or pair to that device, but it doesn't take any more hardware processing power to broadcast one stream to 1,000 people as it does one stream to one person. It doesn't change that. That always bugged me about Bluetooth. I always had issues. And the other thing that annoyed me was I got some headsets that were Bluetooth headsets for talking on the phone, but you couldn't listen to music on it. It didn't allow you to check. When you go into Bluetooth, you go into settings and you got phone and audio.
Yeah.
It didn't let you tick the audio. And a couple of devices you could tick the audio, but then you couldn't tick the phone. You could choose one. You could either use a headset for making phone calls or for listening to music. You couldn't use it for both. I'm like,
that's the whole point of them.
Send the signal from the phone to the device and do as you're told. Don't give me attitude. Just get what you're given. It just bugged me. I'm like, why? Who decided that this needs to be a standard?
Yeah.
So, no.
Well, that's about it for me. How about you?
Yeah, there's a few random things. I'll tell you one thing quickly, though. You need to get these magnetic... you can see it hanging on the bottom of my phone there. There's magnetic cables, USB cables.
Yeah.
So when you that just stays in your phone, and then you just literally just put the cable somewhere near it. The magnet's that strong, it just clips onto it. And
like the old MacBooks used to be.
Sort of, yeah. It's a bit stronger. And if you happen to trip over the cable in the middle of the night or whatever, it just breaks away from the phone. Doesn't destroy the cable. Doesn't drop your phone on the ground.
Oh, no.
They're only a few bucks on eBay, and they are amazing.
Cool.
You get them in 1, 2, and 3 meter lengths, and it also, that is one weak point of the Samsungs. The charge ports do break relatively easily.
You don't want to be plugging things in and out all day.
Yeah, but the biggest reason is if you pulled a cable out and you bent it down, you completely destroy the cable. So you're riding cables off all the time. But I mean, okay, it's a little bit proud, but if you've got a case, the other phone's got a case on it, and this sits almost.
I'd get that for my mum's Kindle because she's got a bit of Parkinson's, and when she plugs the cable in, it screws up the port, and we've had to throw away Kindles and other devices because the socket has been destroyed.
Yeah, this is really good. It works like you can just hold it like an inch away, and it'll. I don't know whether is the magnet in this or is the magnet? No, the magnet's in the thing. I don't have a cable here, but yeah. I really recommend people get these. It makes life so much easier. There are for all sorts of different devices you can get them, not just these. You can get the USB-C or whatever it is. You can get the iPhone one. You can get a few different connectors, but they're all in the channel. Like, they use the same cables. So the other cool part is if, say, you had the USB-C and I had this one, I went around to your joint and I charged my phone, I can just plug the cable. Like, it'll still attach to the same cable, just with a different socket. So
nice.
That's pretty cool.
Thanks for listening to the Aussie Tech Heads show, broadcast weekly. We can be found at facebook.com/Aussie Tech Heads, twitter.com/Aussie Tech Heads, youtube.com/Aussie Tech Heads. Email us Glenn, Will, or Warlock at aussietechheads.com.au. You can hear Aussie Tech Heads on Aussie Tech Radio 24/7, back-to-back play of some of the best tech-related shows from around Australia and New Zealand. New shows added each Friday. We'll hopefully see you next time.
Bye.